Welcome to Bible Study with Fred. Today I'm going to be reading from Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verses 1 to 3, starting with that. So if you follow along with me in your Bible, that would be great. So I returned and considered all the oppressions that are done under the sun. And behold, the tears of such as were oppressed, that they had no comforter, and on the side of their oppressors there was power, but they had no comforter. Wherefore I praise the dead which are already dead more than the living which are yet alive. Yea, better is he than both they which have not yet been, who have not seen the evil work that is done under the sun. Life is full of oppressions committed by the powerful upon the weak. Even where a system is set up to avenge and assist the oppressed, there's often corruption, even if only behind the scenes. As Stalin supposedly said, and I can't prove this, but it's commonly reported, Stalin supposedly said that it doesn't matter who votes, but only who counts the votes. So it is a logical thing to imagine that there are great sums of money at stake and great power, that the disposal of them is not going to be left any more to chance by those who have both than absolutely necessary, those who have both power and money. In America, many people have been bought off with a relatively comfortable standard of living, so they're apathetic about the freedoms that are taken from them. What good is freedom if you're hungry and sick, it can be said. Other Americans are paid off by being offered a minimal standard of living from taxpayer-funded government coffers, where there is little or no opportunity to earn a living wage, as is often the case in Appalachia or the inner cities. Over the last century or so, we've come up with many laws and regulations to try to keep the common Joe or Josephine from being ripped off, manipulated, and exploited at work or in dealings with the business community. But you can't change human nature, and wickedness and corruption are endemic, even in countries with strong laws to protect the weak. Whether it be banks have foreclosed on homes of unsophisticated working people who've hit hard times and yet help criminals launder and hide money and avoid taxes, or employers who cheat workers out of overtime or make them work in unsafe conditions, it'll just go on and on. Those are oppressed also who, by a culture of helplessness, are taught by government action to spend their lives with their hands out, demanding payment just for existing without taking any action to better their own plight. Solomon was aware in his time that it was impossible to stop oppression. Solomon, in the depths of his despair over the human condition, says that people are better off dead due to the oppressions of life, and then goes on to even say those who had never been born in the first place are even more fortunate. I don't think you can get any more negative than this. Let's go on to verse 4 to 6. Again, I considered all travail and every right work, that for this a man is envied of his neighbor. This is also vanity and vexation of spirit. The fool foldeth his hands together and eateth his own flesh. Better is a handful with quietness than both hands full with travail and vexation of spirit. Solomon goes on to discuss envy. An honest man, by toil and effort, lifts himself up and creates a business or is successful in his own trade, and people are envious of him. Proverbs 27:4, wrath is cruel and anger is outrageous, but who is able to stand before envy? And in America that has been corrupted by Marxist social theory, it is often assumed that any man who achieves success is a crook, a charlatan, and a cheat. Americans don't think this of an actor whose livelihood depends on pretending to be someone he's not, or a musician who can bang out almost any kind of trash if he can get someone's ear, but they often think this of a businessman who has worked hard to be successful. Meanwhile, the fool in verse 5 is so unwilling to help himself, as he thinks badly of others who will help themselves, that he's likened to someone who eats his own flesh. So he brings himself to ruin. In verse 6, Solomon says that it is better to have a little bit than to have much with overwork and stress. Another danger is expressed in the following. Proverbs 30, verse 7. Two things have I required of thee, deny me not them not before I die. Remove far from me vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me, lest I be full and deny thee and say, who is the Lord? Or lest I be poor and steal and take the name of my God in vain. So we're going to stop there and pick it up in verse 7 next. I hope you'll read your Bible, study your Bible, cross-reference the verses, pray to God for wisdom and understanding, and then share your interpretation with someone else. Reading and studying are two different things. Read it, let God speak to you through it. Just read it. And then doesn't have to be a huge amount. There's no rule saying you have to read, so many chapters a day. But then take and study it. One verse, two verses, a passage, a chapter. Study it. You'll really be blessed by that. All right. Thank you. I hope you'll have a good day.